can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name.
Hi, welcome to Awaken to Truth. So glad you can join us today. We appreciate your time, and please remember to like and subscribe. Today, well, we're in the aftermath of the United States bombing Iran and basically flexing their muscles and then telling Iran, you need to now sit back and let's form some type of peace agreement. So, will they listen? Won't they? This and other things that we're going to talk about today. Hope you can join us. Thank you.
Today, like she said, we're going to be talking about that. First of all, I'd like to say, have they considered the sleeper cells all over the country? Well, for years and years, they've been letting in people from Iran and all over the world, China, Russia, people coming in illegally by 10,000 a day sometimes. And now we're putting an end to it. And how is that going to get all the ones who are missing and sleeper cells already in our country is my question. And is it the nature of Iran to just go, oh, okay, these are the same kind of people who are willing to unalive themselves for the glory of a satanic god, a narcissistic little g wannabe. Let's put that out there. It is their great honor to give birth to children and decide before they're even born that they are going to be martyrs. So, anyhow, what is your thoughts on Iran and if they are going to just say, "Oh, okay, Mr. Trump"?
Yeah, that's pretty much my reaction. My understanding of the Middle Eastern mindset is they will acknowledge defeat, but they are not going to accept it inwardly. So they may comply with whatever is being asked of them for the time being, but while they're complying, they're regrouping. Probably going to comply, but they're definitely going to be regrouping. And in doing some research for this program, a lot of people are calling this, the leading up to Gog-Magog war. I don't know if I agree with Gog-Magog war. I believe that's further, towards the end of the tribulation days. But I mean, prophecy is 2020 in hindsight. I found this website that says God Answers, and it talks about Iran's role in the end times and gives a bit of our history of Iran, Persia/Iran. So, reading from a website called God Answers, it says Iran's involvement in the end times will be as one of the nations involved in the Battle of Gog and Magog. Most people are familiar with Ezekiel 38 prophecies with Gog and Magog. Iran being the modern name for Persia, also Elam in the Bible. So Elam and Persia all are the same, synonymous with Iran. But there's a coalition with the Gog-Magog war when they come against Israel. And the other nations that we need to watch are Sudan, Turkey, Libya, probably the three major ones. And Russia could easily be thrown in there. And we know that a few years ago, Russia, China, and Iran made an alliance.
Yeah,
So,
that's my concern right here because I personally think Russia and China are going to jump into this fight. A lot of people think that Iran is just going to comply. I don't. They have backing.
no.
I don't. I'm not sure where I stand on the Gog and Magog, but my feeling was it started with the moment that Russia and Ukraine kicked off. Um, I felt like this was the beginning of what was catapulting it into Gog and Magog, but I could be wrong. A lot of people believe it's near the end, um, even after the 1,000-year reign of Jesus when they released, Satan one more time. I don't know if I buy into that, but
No, I don't. I
yeah,
wouldn't go
I've
that
heard
far
that.
into
Yeah,
history. No.
yeah, no. I think it's coming into fruition. I think we're in the birth pains. That's my personal opinion. And that's about to kick off here in a little bit. We might have a little bit of time, but that's the direction this is going in my humble opinion. But I don't know everything, so.
Well, when you say birth pains, it reminds me of a video someone sent me, a person who is, I would say, a prophet, a visionary. God speaks to this person in dreams, visions, and and although I don't put a lot of weight on modern day prophets because I think there's a lot of false ones out there, um, what he said that I distinctly remember is God told him that there isn't birth pains are no longer spaced apart. They're just going to be coming one after the other. And
Mm,
um any woman who's gone through labor, well, if you've had an epidural, you wouldn't know. But gone through labor pains, the closer you get to that baby coming, the closer the pains are. And
and
I
it gets
remember for
more and
me,
more
one of,
intense, more and
yeah,
more intense,
more
more frequent.
intense, more frequent. Like with my firstborn, near the end, the labor pains were 30 seconds of contraction, 30 seconds of relief, 30 seconds of my husband was timing this. It was like there was no time to regroup between them. It's just, one hits you, it stops, the next one hits you, it stops, the next one hits you. You're just being hit, bing, bang, boom, one right after the other. And the labor pains of this earth, yeah, they're getting a lot closer. You talk, um, I did a one time with my kids. Um, I actually went to Scripture says labor pains will increase like a woman giving birth. So I actually went and found graphs online on earthquakes over the last 100 years. Earthquakes and what's the other one?
Well, we've had more earthquakes in 50 years than we've had in 200 or 300 years.
Earthquakes, and there was one other one I went to search the graphs on. And then I searched for a graph on labor pains. They looked identical.
My goodness, I never thought about that. That's very interesting how you put the
They
correlation of
were
the two.
practically identical.
Are you kidding me?
No,
That's interesting because I never put the birth pains and correlated the birth pains with the earthquakes. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
that's the
Okay.
way my brain works. Sorry.
No, that's very interesting. I like that. Um, okay. On to the next topics. We're not diving too much into that. We're just going to show you how so much is going on in the world right now. We're going to focus on North America at the moment because that's where we're at and that's what affects us the most. Um,
So our government up here, between Bill C2 and Bill C5, they are looking for communist type dictatorial status.
oh, surprise, surprise. And just so you guys know, because we're about to get into some of these things, okay? Right on the border in Canada, there are Chinese bases,
Oh
Chinese military bases Just a FYI before we dive into some of this.
Well, I mean, that shouldn't surprise anybody because the former prime minister, Trudeau
Mhm.
Castro, loved, may, publicly praised the government of China. They were training Chinese military in Canada on fighting in cold weather. And there were Chinese police stations in downtown Toronto, if I remember correctly, at one point, if they're not still there. And I also heard that there was Chinese police stations in downtown Toronto.
It's not the only place they have police stations. They have them in certain in cities here.
In the
Actual
States
police
too.
stations and entire complexes, buildings where they have, yeah, they're military police. And people were catching on to this, going, "Why is that a thing?" Um,
They're
I would
poising
add,
to take over North America.
absolutely. And I would add they have guillotines, they have caskets, they have a lot prepared here. Caskets that fit two, three, four bodies, depending on the size. And they have them on properties that they've been renting all over the place. China has bought up land around military bases for years and years all over the United States. Let's keep that in mind.
The only way you can have peace in this world is when God gives you peace because you know He's in control, and to live is Christ and to die is gain, and to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Other than that, I don't know how you can have peace and
Nope.
be aware of everything going on in the world and the whole um,
Yeah.
military and political situations. And then don't even throw in Genesis 6 with Nephilim and aliens. Like,
Oh, yeah. We're not even going down that rabbit hole today. But it
no, we've
surely
we've
comes into play.
yeah. But I
Uh,
mean, you just, if you put all the pieces on the board, like there's a lot going on and you can't even, get your head around half of it all at the same time because there's just so much coming from every which way. And if you're just listening to mainstream media, they're doing a magic show on you because they're just, look over here while we do this over there so you don't see what we're doing over there. We're just going to make sure you stay distracted, keep your, head in the sand and feel like
hating
you're
one
doing
another and,
okay.
we're
Yeah,
against this. We're outraged about this. I'm sorry. These are all just to keep you distracted. Uh,
exactly.
Another thing I'd like to point out, recently they've been testing the end of the world system. The US Air Force fired off 246 character emergency action messages, the same kind to that is transmitted for launch codes. Same ones used to talk to nuclear submarines, missile silos, and airborne command centers. Nobody knows what they actually said. Um, with tensions, Russia, China, Iran, that gives me pause. And we also have a SS Pacific tracker for ballistic missiles right outside of Oregon, right on the border of Oregon and Washington, out just a little bit. It's been going up and down right in that area. And that gives me pause. The thing is, the Satan, which is a Russian missile submarine, which is undetectable. It's got advanced technology. It cannot be detected until they've actually fired something off. Okay, has been known to be somewhere off the coast. It disappeared a couple of years ago, and I personally think it's right off the coast based on a lot of military veterans who have been doing a lot of research on this. Think it's right off the Pacific coast. Um, because it was detected coming across and then down, like coming across from Russia and coming down from like Alaska, but not all the way to Alaska, but it started to come down. Didn't detect it after that. It went dark. That means it's probably on the Pacific coast and has been for a while. Um, so that's something that people need to be aware of. Um, Also, China has been recently pushing the borders of the United States by sea, just, pushing those little boundaries, putting themselves into place. There's been a lot of military activity that I have noticed, and a lot of other people have been noticing it. I've been seeing fighter jets do war games, all kinds of stuff like that. If you guys don't know what war games is, what war games are, they're where they prepare before ahead of time. They do practice runs of what they would do if this happened or that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just know this, that the enemy will create a problem to fix a problem. Order out of chaos. They create a situation, they create wars, and then tell you this is the only way to fix it. And if anybody's been listening to the President of the United States words lately, it's not about he's talking about, well, we're not just gonna, end this. We're gonna create a permanent solution. That permanent solution is a new world order, one world government. Out of the ashes they will rise. They will create such a horrific problem all over the entire world with a World War III, which in the occult and their plans, they have put it out for the public to see that nobody seems to care about. This is the Great Reset. The Third World War. Go read the book by Albert Pike, okay? The Third World War is the one that is catapulting us into the New World Order. This was a plan. All three world wars were planned. Now we're into the third one that will bring forth the Antichrist. Period. We're also planning for the next plan. And then there's a demic. Hospitals are getting all kinds of interesting messages. Um, I'm not going to tell you all about that because it doesn't matter. Basically, the hospitals are the new safe haven. When everything goes awry, these hospitals are where you want to go because it's a safe haven.
Oh no.
And this is, yeah, that's a no and a no and an emphatic no.
Absolutely no. Yeah.
No. No go. Okay? When you hear that, please go the other direction. When the FEMA camps um are when you're directed to a FEMA camp, that's another no. These are all called processing centers when everything is said and done. You rely on Jesus, Jesus alone, that is all you need. Um you do, in my opinion, everybody needs to be stocking up on water, finding a way, which it's not hard to do. You can buy certain equipment for it, or you can do it with whatever you have handy. You need to learn how to distill water because our water is going to be undrinkable. We're already having our water, our food, and our air poisoned. Now, when they amp this up, you won't be able to drink water anymore. I already drink distilled water. My family already drinks distilled water because they're putting things in the water. Aside from, just the regular stuff that dumbs down our mind and with the fluoride and everything like that. I mean, that's just something they've been doing for years to make our men more docile and dumb down our brains. And that is an actual fact. You can look up the um, the studies on that. There's no other reason for that stuff. But anyhow, I digress on that. Any comments before I mention a few of the other things I wanted to talk about?
Well, I agree with you. The agenda is to demasculize the male population. They don't want men being men. Are you kidding? No. Men are even scared to be men nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Distilled water. I don't know exactly, but I did see a video a couple of years ago. You don't have to buy any fancy equipment. You go out into the
Sure.
woods, cut a branch, a thin branch off a tree or a piece of vine, hook it up so that the water has to seep through that tree branch or that vine, and what comes out on the other end is pure water. Make sure it's running the way that um
The vein is running.
yeah,
Mhm.
if the plant pulls the water, the thinner end is on the bottom where it's coming out, and the thicker end is,
You
where you've got the initial water going through.
you would have to connect that to quite a few trees, though. Although what she's saying is not hard, but you would have to connect it to quite a few trees. Um,
Well, it depends on
to
how many people you need water for and how much water
that's
you need.
That's valid. The thing you could do is you could take any water source, you put it in a pot, you put seal the top. If you don't have the equipment already, which it's not fancy equipment anyways, you can drill a hole in the top. You put a pipe, you put it into another pot identical to it, you get it boiling, and it will go through the pipe into the other pot that has a top pipe running through it, drip into it, and then you have fresh fresh water that has been filtered. Now, when you take the pot off, you're going to see all the stuff that was left behind. But that's like when it rains, it's because water has been accumulated and then it falls. You're creating the same scenario. That's God's natural way of filtering water. Not only that, it activates the ions in the water that are healthier for your body. It's way better for you, although you will have to add some minerals to it. But you might want to add a few minerals every once in a while to it. We don't do it, but probably once a week. Sometimes not even that. Okay.
But yeah, for the FEMA camps and the hospitals, if it's a processing center, they're going to figure out or want to know where your beliefs are, where your political alliances are, and
They already know.
basically it's a Christian Jews and Christians extermination camp.
Absolutely. And they already know. It's the phones that everybody walks around with. Nobody, I mean, everything about you
Is being
is
recorded. And even
it's
if you
being
don't
recorded.
have a phone, you're being recorded by those who do that you're, within a few feet of. Have
That
a
is true.
conversation with somebody who has a phone. You may not have your phone with them, but they have their phone. It's recorded and with voice for recognition and everything else.
Yep.
I'm sure they can easily figure out who you are, even when the Bible says there's no place to hide, there's no place to hide.
It's up under his protection and he can do that. But
And for his protection, yeah, the enemy can't get through it. You just look at Job, you know.
mhm.
God says to Job, I mean, God says to Satan, "Have you considered Job?" And Satan's reply was, "Well, yeah, of course I've considered Job, but I can't get near him. You've got a hedge of protection around him." So you just pray for that hedge of protection every day. Pray for the hedge of protection around you, around your family, around your loved ones, anybody you have, influence over. Pray for that hedge of protection, and the devil can't get through it unless he gets permission. And if he gets permission, God has a purpose and a plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are a few other things I would like to mention before we go. Any comments before I move on to the
I'll just thank God for well water. It comes with all the minerals.
yeah, where I'm at, I have well water right now, and it's pretty awesome. But uh they've been spraying. They have detected scientists have detected airborne toxins in the air recently. And with that being said, and all the spraying we've seen above, and people having this strange sickness that's been going on, and it's It's a pretty strange sickness. It's not like a regular one. It's just like all of a sudden people are getting these extreme headaches, the fever, sometimes some lung issues. Well, in addition to that, we've been having birds and animals die. Turtles dying in the lake that they recently tested. It was recently seen a UH-1 Huey that was that isn't used with the military anymore, which is strange in itself. So that old Huey is out there um, sending down this little tester. It's like a big old military helicopter. It's sending down this little line that tests the water. So there's a possibility that there's been contaminants coming from the enemy as well. Something might
Mm.
be going on with that. And because of that, turtles have been dying, uh, you know, and all kinds of stuff. The fish just dead. Um, Birds are falling out of the air dead. Just,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. Animals have been acting strange. They've been doing things with frequencies. And animals are just going berserk with this because they can hear those frequencies. It's below our audible, although we can feel it. I know I can when they're doing it. They've been doing some testing with that over the last few months. I think they're test runs for something that they're going to activate. Um,
Well, they
this
can
is
activate, sorry, they can activate frequencies to control the population, make them docile,
Mhm.
make them angry, make them, herd mentality.
Let's say they've already put something in everyone by force, or by coercion through fear and intimidation, and the majority of the people have it in them. That has also been added into the food, water, and everything else that could elevate or
Accelerate.
accelerate the frequencies
Mhm.
when this proverbial switch is hit. You guys, I know that we've mentioned this before, but the first 2 weeks of the plan and pandemic, in the first 2 weeks when everybody was in their houses, terrified to leave their houses, they were rolling out 5G and I believe other equipment with this to accelerate and to accelerate a frequency and other things. I don't know how else to put this that we will not get
I'm sure
right.
most people can read between the lines.
Okay. All right. We're just trying to be delicate how we say things because right now they're being really careful to, ban people for talking about certain subjects. So,
Big Brother is watching you.
yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Oh, yeah, I'm so shocked. Oh, really? No way. Okay. Um, okay, last thing I really wanted to mention and it's happening, and I'm not gonna say where I'm at, but in the area that I'm in right now, we have a fog where you can actually see the particles in the air. This has
Wow.
been happening all over the place, in addition to blue rain, which when they tested it had living little creatures in it with skeletons and everything. But I will digress and just play you a
Wow.
video here. Um, any thoughts before I play the clip?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Hey, we're camping in this beautiful state park in Texas, and it's been raining, and the water that's coming out of the sky is blue. And it's not this tarp because it's happening on this tarp too. Look at that. This is crazy.
Not a motherfucking blue lake right here. How much would it take for you to drink that water? How much money?
Have you in Texas, have you in California seen this blue rain? Now, coming up next, this ties into something huge because a lot of people are not really seeing this for what it is. And I'm about to break that down for everybody here because there was something said in the bird flu summit that told us what was to come. And I'm going to bring that up, but there was a simple test, Amazon. And remember, this is an Amazon test of what was in the rain. And the blue rain, as a matter of fact. And here's, you can see the bottle here from Eddie. And so we appreciate Eddie. The thing is here, as you look down this list, we can see what is the most of what's in there. And you look through it, lead at 200 parts per million is the highest right now. We got about 10 parts per million of nickel. And then you got carbonite, and the alkalinity was at pH was 8.2. MPS, let's look into MPS really quick right now, because I looked at that and I was noticing that they put these in pools and spas and stuff like that. But also, if you read up here on screen, this mono persulfate, when reacted with starch indicator solution, will turn deep blue color. There's no starch in there. So I looked even more. I said, okay, how else could it do it? Aluminum in high concentrations can cause reflective scattering in water, creating a bluish, silverish hue, especially when light hits at a certain angles. But there is one key factor, though, that is deeper than both of those two that I just mentioned. And it was at the bird flu summit, because, again, we didn't test for chemicals here. We didn't see anything with chemicals that was being done through Eddie's stuff. But when we look at the bird flu summit, they specifically said mass fatality management planning was going to be coming for their future operations. And then rainwater tech was in another subsection for the chief product officer, Kerry Waters. Why does that need to be talked about during the bird flu summit is the big question here as we go forward with more of what's really going to be going down. Now, they are initiating something through rain. And so, again, that's what it seems like. And when we look at the most recent articles coming out about, 50 states prepare, get ready for the next wave of pandemics, they already announced that. And it seemed like this was the framework for them to lay that down. And remember, bird flu, obviously H5N1, the same thing. So this rain comes out just a little bit after that. We had that fog creature, the entity, come out. Information we've been showing you, microscopic data of that in the last few weeks through Mike Adams and everybody else. Then we got DARPA hitting us with frequency. So where is this really going?
Spots due to some dense morning fog.
Tonight we've got fog along the river and into western Iowa, zero visibility.
Which is being impacted not only by the fog that still seems to be fairly dense at this hour.
Outside Heathrow Airport, the air traffic control tower is barely visible. Emerging from the fog, this plane is one of the flights that made it.
For the last 7 days, the world has been shrouded in a veil of mystery. An unrelenting fog that stretches from the poop-covered streets of Portland, Oregon, to the quietest corners of the countryside. This is no ordinary weather phenomenon. It's a dense, suffocating mist with an unsettling smell of chemicals lingering in the air. Residents in every corner of the globe have reported seeing strange, glittering particles suspended within it, almost as if the fog is alive, hiding secrets within its depths. The fog has already claimed lives. 4 catastrophic plane crashes in just 1 week. Travel has ground to a halt, and fear grips the population. But the questions don't end there. People who've come into direct contact with the fog are reporting severe illness, nausea, dizziness, and even unexplained rashes. Scientists are baffled, and officials remain silent. But silence only breeds suspicion. Whispers of government involvement are spreading like wildfire. Could this fog be the result of geoengineering gone wrong, or perhaps a deliberate act of control? And if that's not enough to send shivers down your spine, consider this. In the weeks leading up to the fog's arrival, reports of UFO sightings reached an all-time high. Some believe the government is using this chemical-laden haze to obscure something they don't want us to see, something watching us from the skies.
Anybody else notice it's been foggy for days now, and the internet never fails to let me know what's happening? The first thing I saw said this is all down to geoengineering. What's that? I have no idea. Another thing I saw said it's down to chemtrails. If you don't know what chemtrails are, if you look at an airplane flying over and you see like water vapor coming out the back, a lot of people believe that's something dodgy by the government. Hey! Now, another theory that is quite interesting is the government doesn't want you to see what's in the sky. Now, I'm not too sure what that means, but one thing the fog did stop me seeing was the horse racing was on ITV. Couldn't even see the horses running. Weird. And then another theory, which is the obvious one, UFOs causing all this fog. And there are some people saying it could just be fog. A lot of different opinions. What do you think's causing all this fog?
So I have seen no videos on this, so I'm just going to talk about it. The fog. That's right, people. This weird fog has been around for days, and it's supposedly making people sick. Well, I feel like and this is what I'm talking about. This is what it's looked like in Ohio for days, okay? Because I just find it really strange, okay, that I was completely fine, and then all of a sudden this weather comes in, and I feel like something's up, y'all. Like something is up. And what I feel is not normal. Like, I feel like my body is panicking. Like, it's going like alarm after alarm after alarm. It's not the flu. It's not a cold. I'm getting hot. I'm getting chills. I feel like I'm going to throw up every 10 minutes. America, tell me if you are going through this and if there is fog.
What's up with the fog? Everywhere I look, there's posts about fog. I just rode back with my husband from Pennsylvania to Georgia, and let me tell you about what we saw. We crossed 7 states. We went from Pennsylvania to Maryland to West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, then Georgia. And there was fog in almost every state. Like, yes, there was some weather going on. There was a little rain here and there, but 7 states, like, it's really odd. Everybody's talking about this fog that's making them sick, this fog after these things we've been seeing in the air that we can't talk about. They're spraying stuff from these things, and maybe it's causing some of this illness, and this fog is part of it. There's this thick fog everywhere we went. And when we got to Virginia, a place called Fancy Gap, I think they're known for having some issues with fog, but this was so bad we almost had to pull over the car. Like, we could not see where we were going.
I don't know if it's just me, but for the last few days, I have been having this weird feeling like something big is about to happen, right? Like this weird feeling of impending doom. I have been having this crazy feeling like in my belly. I don't know what it is, okay? To be brutally honest, I feel like something is already happening. And here's why. For the last few days, there have been crazy reports of dense, thick fog in many states all over America, in addition to the UK. Now, this is not your regular fog, because a lot of people have been reporting that they have been seeing some weird type of mist coming out of the sky with this fog, okay? In addition to that, there have been 4 plane crashes, y'all, within the last 5 days, okay? 3 of those plane crashes occurred within the last 24 hours. You had one on Christmas Day in Kazakhstan, and then within the last 24 hours, you had one in South Korea, Nova Scotia, as well as Norway. In addition to that, y'all, so many people have been reporting this weird sickness, where as though they're having muscle soreness, sore throat, body aches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, the whole 9. And they said that this sickness had just been coming out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but I feel like something big is happening or about to happen, and these people just are not telling us. What are your thoughts?
What the heck is going on, guys? It is so freaking foggy out here, and it's been like this for like the past 6 days. I've been seeing this all over my FYP. This is definitely not normal for this time of year. I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Illinois right now, and it's been so difficult to drive. Right now, it's a little bit brighter than it was earlier, but the visibility is still low, so I'm gonna turn the camera. Oh, I don't see the option to turn the camera around, but so you guys can see, you can't see anything past that barring there, and it's been, oh my babies want to say hi. I've been seeing people all over the world experiencing this. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know why it's so foggy. Let me know if you're experiencing the same thing in the comments there. I just think it's super weird because this is not normal for this time of year for us. We farm, we track the weather every year. I've looked at my notes and I have not seen anything like this in January ever in my life. So let me know.
What's going on with this fog? There's been so many people in different cities, different states, and different countries talking about this fog that's appearing over cities that is weird and it smells different. And it's not natural either for the time of year or the way it looks is a little bit odd. And I've seen videos from the UK, from Canada, from so many states in America right now that is talking about this fog. And the reason this is important is because different things keep happening, right? Because the Dior bags apparently don't exist and they're covering it up. And some of them were leaving certain trails that people believe to be unnatural and harmful to us. And now that there's this fog and people have been reporting going through this fog and feeling kind of weird and having it smell a little man-made, and it's really odd.
Now, what do you think is the reason for this strange fog? Whether it's a natural phenomenon, a catastrophic failure of human engineering, or something far more sinister, one thing is clear: we're left with more questions than answers. Why does it carry the scent of chemicals? Why are people falling ill? And why now, at a time when the skies have been more active than ever? Is it a coincidence, or could this be a deliberate attempt to keep us blind to what's above? If history has taught us anything, it's that the truth has a way of surfacing, eventually. But until then, all we can do is keep asking questions, keep demanding answers, and keep watching the skies. The fog may obscure our vision, but it can't hide the truth forever.
Any thoughts, Helva, before we go today? Anything you would like to add?
Be in the word, be in prayer, be equipped, put on the full armor of God so that in this evil day that we're living in, at the end of the day, you're able to stand strong in the faith and be a faithful soldier to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, amen to that, Helva. Amen to that. And yep, stay in prayer. Stay as close to the Lord as you can. Stay in the Word. And again, I mentioned stocking up on a little bit of water and filtering system. You might want to stock up on a little bit of food. Make sure your gas tank is full.
Well, if you can't stock up, because some people can't
I
financially,
know.
it's not feasible. I have a book that I just picked up from a hardware store
Origin.
that's edible things all around you, like it's specific to my area that you would not normally think to eat, but you know.
I've got tons of books on that for every region of North America, just in case. I'm an over prepper, but but you never know.
Yeah.
I started writing down. Another thing you might want to check into, guys, is this is one of the things I wanted to mention too. A lot of you are on medications and things like that. Maybe get a book on medicinal cures, and again, foraging, and eating off your land is any land that you're on. It's available to you. Not only can you eat it, you can turn it into medicine. A lot of things are out there that can be done that way. There's recipes. I've been writing down recipes for different types of medicinal cures based on natural things in our environment for a while. There's books already out on it. And they tell you exactly how to do it. It's not as difficult as it sounds. And if you're on medications and you can't get off of them, you need to pray about it and maybe ask God if if He will supernaturally heal you. And just know that there are other solutions, but besides pharmakia.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years, but they had me on 13 different medications. Now I'm healthier than ever. I'm no longer on all of these medications, so it was for a multitude of different things. Um, and it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah.
I was on anti-seizure medicine. I was on high blood pressure medicine. I was on pain medication. I was on antidepressants. I was on anxiety medications. So if I can get off these heavy duty medications with Jesus, and that's how I did it, was with Jesus, eating a healthy organic diet and using natural remedies, which are cures as opposed to a band-aid that makes you need more and more and more of other medications for all the side effects you get from the other ones. Those medications were literally killing me. I was dying. When I got off of them, I started living again, and my brain turned back on, which was nice. Still healing, but
Yeah, it's nice to have a brain and that works
hmm
properly. But yeah, and do some cleanses,
oh
parasite
yeah,
cleanses, body cleanses, and heavy metal cleanses. And
yep,
we've touched on that a little bit here and there. Um, but let food be your medicine.
yep,
Your health
that.
starts in your gut and sickness starts in your gut. So you need to be way more careful about what you eat and what you don't eat, and what you should add to your diet and what you should take away from your diet.
I'm into that. Stay away from processed foods.
And processed
It was,
foods are generally, yeah,
yeah.
as easy and convenient as they are. Yeah, those food manufacturers work in cohorts with the pharmaceutical industry. It's like, we'll make them sick and then send them to you. It's
Wow. Death spiral. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Um, well, thank you for joining us this week. We'll go into some of these other topics in more detail in our next couple of videos. Um, well, you guys have a good week and we'll see you next time. Shalom, shalom.
God bless you all.
I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. I can hear you call my name. Come to the table, cup runneth over. Come drink your